Yo, people, welcome back to the channel. And of course, we are here for episode 35 of the After the Boundary show. And there are some good stuff to discuss. Of course, the Big Bash, which I'm really excited about, kicks off. Um, Big women matches, and then, of course, Mitchell Johnson and David Warner have been firing some shots at each other. Could we see a boxing match between them? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. To discuss this all with me is Mr. Manning. How are you?
All good, thank you. And yeah, definitely a lot to discuss. And I'll just say this right now. I don't want to, be a spoiler, but if Johnson and Warner were to get into a boxing match, and I think Johnson's height might end up, giving him the edge. Although, don't get me wrong, despite being 5'7", marginally shorter than me, Warner's scrappy. So you never know.
Yeah, I know. Um, Ria. Firstly, to um, uh, as you guys come in, smash that like button, and subscribe button. Um, so yeah, um, let's get things started. Of course there are some some interesting women matches going on. I will share my screen right now. Um, yeah, here we go. Let me just share my screen. Of course, today we saw England beat India. Of course, I'd say the top five is as both India and England in it. England, of course, tour in India, so it was a big loss there and big win for England. Um, but the main news was that Danny Wyatt on 150th T20 um, appearance, so massive shout out to her. And there's a quote from her: "I've not yet achieved what I wanted to in the sport." So it seems like she will continue. But India not making a great account of themselves in this match. Really expected a bit better from them. Um, Again, I won't be able to say if this is the like strongest team um, or from India, but if we have a look from England, I think it is probably the one of the stronger teams. Um, Really easy one for them in the end. Um, Getting 200, no matter if it's close to 200 there. If it's men's or women's cricket, it's a tough chase. But in women's cricket, it is of course a much bigger get chase, as we know. So no big one that. But what did you make of it, Manny? Oh, what do you think will
Well,
happen in the series?
Well, this is really, an amazing performance from England considering everything. And I think you take a look at the England scorecard, you see both Danny White in her landmark appearance and also Nat Siver Brunt uh, getting some excellent knocks of 70 odd. Um, a few failures in between. Capsey getting out for a golden duck. Dunkley only lasting a couple of balls, and then Heather Knight not being able to really do very much. But then Amy Jones with a wonderful cameo near the end. It's like you say, whenever you have one big innings in a T20, um, in a T20 innings, if you have one big knock, that pretty much sets your team up really well. And we had two excellent knocks, both at around about 150 strike rate. Cyber Brunt's was 145 and Wyatt's was very close to 160. And then, of course, Amy Jones with 3 4s and a 6, really capping it off. And only Renuka Singh and to some extent Shriyanka Patil were the better bowlers as far as India were concerned. A bit expensive, though, near the end when the likes of, Knight and Jones were, Siva Brunt and Jones were hitting out. And you take a look at the Indian innings, and I think I'll answer your question there. It's not necessarily their strongest team, but when you've got people like Smriti Mandana, Jemima Rodriguez, Shefali Verma, and the captain Harmanpreet Kaur, that of course provides you a really strong, experienced base. But some of these players, of course, weren't really a big part of the team when they competed in the T20 World Cup over in South Africa. So I think it is fair to say that they're trying some new players in that team to try to sort of see where they stand and just give some other players a chance. But it might not be too long before we see some of the more experienced players coming back into the picture. And of course, when you take a look at the entire tour, there are 3 T20 internationals. The only test between them will be played on the 14th of December, and there's no one-day international cricket there. And I think it was interesting as well to hear Tammy Beaumont saying in an article that we need to try and 50-over cricket at all costs has got to be protected. And this is, of course, an article which came out from today. And she is, of course, a part of the squad, but I don't think she played in the first T20. But here's her comments. The more the game goes on, the more it'll diversify, and there's more talent in every country. So now you can focus, almost field very different teams depending on the format. But the other formats outside of T20 shouldn't be left behind. And I hope that won't happen because that's an issue that has happened in the men's game. And sadly, it doesn't look as though the recent ODI World Cup held in India could very much change that. But she went on to say that one of the few good things about the women's game is that we can learn from the mistakes of the men's game. The WPL, all the franchise leagues, the investment and the amount of money that's coming to the women's game are amazing, and some might say overdue. But it's very important to protect where the games come from. And when you see the men's game talking about whether or not 50-over cricket is even worth doing, well, if only 4 nations are playing Test cricket and women's cricket, it's important that 50-over cricket has to be protected. And everyone would love to have loads of Test-playing nations and playing big Test series, but at the moment, that's not a reality. At the same time, of course, if you're just a test match player and you only play 2 tests a year, you're not playing much cricket. So the hope is we've got to keep and protect all formats of cricket and not just jump on the wave of T20 and leave everything else behind. Now, actually, in fact, I do stand corrected because Beaumont hasn't played a T20 international in nearly 2 years, and she lost her place following the 2022 Women's Ashes. But she's also not a part of the squad, but she did actually do well in the 100 with a 61 ball 118, the competition's highest score among genders. But hopefully her words will be taken seriously. And as far as the rest of the series is concerned, it will be very interesting to see what happens. I don't know if I can necessarily see India coming back from this to win the T20 series, because if they're going to continue the policy of trying to select some youngsters to play along with the more experienced players, it should only be a matter of time before, the experience of England tells. And when you've got players, forget about the batswomen, let's talk about the bowlers. Sophie Eccleston really has to, really, there should be claim laid to her as probably the best spin bowler in world cricket today. 4 overs, 3 wickets for 15 runs at an economy rate of 3.75. That is absolutely magnificent in any format, much less T20. So I think England should win this series. Maybe India might get a consolation win, but I really don't see India doing very much in the Test series. As far as the only Test is concerned, it will remain to be seen whether India decide to select a more experienced side for that. I think England should be able to come out on top there. But at least Indian cricket can take the consolation of that 4-1 T20 win by the men over the Aussies, although the fact that many of their experienced players walked away from India to go back and play in the Big Bash and other matches didn't really help them.
Yeah. Um, but let me. So you reckon England win the T20s?
Yes. 2-1, though, because I'm pretty
One.
sure India might spring a surprise maybe in the third one, but England should have the edge with their experience. And
Yeah.
the only test should be a very narrow England win, in my opinion.
Uh, um, I just want to see the rankings. So I'm just interested to see like the woman rankings. Mm, team stats. Rankings. There we go. So T. Show team rankings. Okay. Um. That's the woman. So this is T20. So it's first against third, basically. Um, and yeah, like I say, the top five is South Africa, New Zealand, India, England, Australia. Um, and same really with the ODI, but just the order varies really. Um, so yeah, but definitely, if England can pull this one off, it's will be massive for them. Where is it? England, India, England women. Um,
Agreed.
all three T20s are played at the one Kerry. Um, yeah, yeah. Let's go to one England. Um, let's get this. Some comments. Be up yourself, just fan. Do smash that like button. Be up England woman. Yeah. Be up yourself. Yeah. Be up to money. Hi KFC. Be up yourself. Um, yeah. Um, I don't watch it, nor do I follow it. I don't get coverage really, but I know that it is going on, and there is some stars there, but not really, really. Don't really get coverage. Where I am, so unfortunately, no.
Yeah, I do get coverage, but I'll tell you what, we were having this discussion, KFC Delivery, on an earlier stream about how, maybe the T10 might be a little bit too short, and then you might have something like the F5. I think when you shorten those formats far too much, you're not really going to get that much in terms of really quality cricket on a very consistent basis. And it'll just be over in the blink of an eye, and the appeal sort of goes out of it. Hopefully, this T10 or F5 thing will be, over and out. But you never know. Anything to make some money, I guess.
Yeah. Of course, Bangladesh won the T20 series in South Africa. They beat us in the T20. Of course, the second 20 was supposed to be played today, but that got banned because of lightning. So yeah, but Bangladesh won that series. One of game. Oh, sorry. There's still another game to come. So yeah, okay. So third game, we'll see if that gets also because it's the same place on Friday. So yeah. Um the England series, we covered that in yesterday's show, so KFC. So if you wanna know that, just check out yesterday's show. Um it's on there.
That's the England West
England,
Indies series, right?
yeah. England West Indies, we
Well,
covered that.
yeah, a huge update right now from Mr. B for Life, who's one of our regulars. The West Indies are currently 49 for 4, and Sammy Curran has shaken off all those demons by being, by taking more than a few wickets. So we'll see what happens in that game, eh?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe. Um, but yeah, 30-20, I expect us to be better. Just wanna have a look at our squad. We should still be beating them, but maybe we've gone with a weak squad. Of course, there's also been lots of politics on the women's side with they some of the with the Sinead Lewis and their captaincy and stuff. Um, it, it's not a mm, it's not our best side like squad. We have had better squad, so yeah, but still
I
we should
recognize
be.
several of those players. I recognize several of those players. If you can just go back, please, because
Yeah,
obviously a few of them, were mainstays of the team that reached the final.
yeah,
Obviously, Wolvart is of course the new captain. You still got Tasman Brits at the top of the order. Annika Bosch, the all-rounder. Lara Goodall and Sinalo Jafta, the wicketkeeper. Sune Luce, of course. And then, of
answer
course,
about that.
Nonkululeko Mlaba, the left arm spinner. Delmi Tucker also was a big part of it. Um, Surprisingly, there's no Marizana Cap or Chloe Tryon. Are they being rested for the series?
Um, there is a ODI, so maybe there is it for that. Maybe there. When does the ODI kick off? Um, Saturday the 16th, so we'll discuss how next week. But I think they should be in the squad for that. We haven't made our squad on the announcement, so yeah. But I reckon we win the 30-20 and it ends 1-1. Um, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, obviously, the T20 series was a bit of a surprise, but ODIs is really where, South Africa should have the edge over Bangladesh. And of course, I don't know if is there a test or something?
ODI series. Next week Saturday.
South Africa should win that. How many matches are being played? I think
In the ODI, I think it's free. Let's just check. Yeah, free.
and no
Free
test
ODI.
between them.
No, no test.
Okay, so
Um,
South Africa should win that one, and if there are three, then that should be I want to say a 3-0 win. I'm not saying Bangladesh should be taken lightly, but South Africa should have the edge.
nah. I'll quickly discuss there's New Zealand Pakistan because Pakistan women are of course touring New Zealand, but currently they have won the T20 series away in New Zealand, beating New Zealand in the first two T20s. So yeah, massive for them. Have a look at this New Zealand lineup. Still Sophie Devine still there. Um, I don't know. Do you recognize anyone else except her?
Bazud Hoyt, you mean from the New Zealand team?
Yeah, from the New Zealand team.
Susie Bates, former captain, Amelia Kerr, Sophie Devine, the current captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably an experimental team from the looks of it.
Yeah.
But again, as with India, I think New Zealand are trying their hand on their home turf at sort of getting a few more experienced players in. They want to try, obviously, to sort of test the waters, as it were. And of course, with that core of Bates, Devine, Bezuidenhout, and Kerr, you should have enough experience to be able to cope with anything. But if we take a look at the Pakistan team, I want to see
I don't really know much of Pakistan, so yeah.
That is New Zealand versus Pakistan women. I'll just take the. Whoops. Thank goodness I'm not sharing. Otherwise, we'd have these pesky advertisements coming up. And
Um,
yeah,
Pakistan. Yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah. Nida Dar is obviously the captain. Bismar Maroof, of course, the all-rounder, left-handed batsman and batswoman and a leg break bowler. Looks like a fairly young team, reasonably young. Willem Fatima has some experience. Diana Baig, another one. And yeah, this also looks like a very young team for the most part. Special mention to Shawal Zulfikar, 18 years old, right-handed batswoman and right-arm off-break bowler. And I think they seem to be willing to go with youth and try and give a lot of younger players a chance. But of course, in the captain Dar and Maroof and one or two others who are in their 30s, there is quite a bit of experience. So you can see a sort of freshness, as it were. And I think for this particular series, it will be interesting to see how both teams cope. If we, I want to take a look and see how many T20s there are.
There are three T20s. Of what Pakistan have already won two. So yeah,
Right,
famous
right,
series
right,
win.
right, right. An excellent series win under the circumstances. And yeah, New Zealand might possibly end up bringing back a few more of their experienced stars. I want to take a look at the New Zealand T20 squad. I did mention Susie Bates and Sophie Devine, the former and current captain. Maddie Green's also another one who should come back into proceedings.
Um, I'm having a look at the ODI squad, but seems like the ODI is also quite similar.
Yeah, special
Um,
mention as well to Fran Jonas and Leah Tahuhu. I remember seeing them in the World Cup as well.
yeah,
So
60 for four. West Indies. There guys can see there above, but yeah. That I think that's all the women's series. Oh, do you reckon? Do you think New Zealand take the one, or do you reckon it's a clean sweep for Pakistan?
well, I mean, from the looks of it, the senior players haven't exactly stood up to make themselves counted for the New Zealanders. I want to take a look at the scorecard, and of course, the first T20 was probably no real contest if we take a look at it. And yeah, Devine and Bezuidenhout never really got going. Bates did make a useful 28. Green also top scoring with 43. And as far as their bowling is concerned, a lot was expected from their frontline bowlers. They didn't deliver. It was Sophie Devine, of course, who chipped in with two. And the second T20, which was a lot tighter. I mean, in series like this, Hannah, you want your senior players to really step up to the plate and make themselves counted. And for the most part, I don't think they've really been able to do that. And yeah, it's sort of confirmed, really. Devine, Bezuidenhout, and Bates just weren't really able to get going, and it had to be left to the middle order to try to bring about a semblance of respectability. And although 10 runs doesn't really sound like a big margin in T20 cricket, it is fairly reasonably comprehensive when you consider the way the game is played. I do think the ODI series will be a bit tighter, but as far as the T20 is concerned, unless the senior players get out of their stupor and start playing well, I can't see them nicking a win. So this could very well be a clean sweep for Pakistan. As far as the ODIs are concerned, let's see how many ODIs are here.
We'll
Just
get
three
to that
ODIs.
next week.
Yeah, yeah,
After, yeah, next
yeah.
week.
That's
Just
fine.
yeah. Pakistan, Australia again. We'll talk about that next week, of course, just to see the squad properly. I know it's been announced, but yeah. So yeah, but that's of course. Um, but yeah, next week we'll discuss that. Um, then the scrum. I think it means the Abu Dhabi T10 is much better than the 100. Um, to be fair, I haven't watched the 100, but I just know it's stupid. Um, so yeah, 8 people watching. Smash that like button and subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm doing good, Ani. Hope you are doing well. Money, you.
Yeah, all good. Thanks for your concern.
Um, yes, I would say Australia will win, but never ever write off Pakistan because on the day they can beat any team. But I would say Australia. Yeah, pro Australia too. We say that every time about Pakistan. Like on the day they can beat anyone, but they never do. Unless it's against Zimbabwe, a team like that. Um, oh, you agree with the 100? Come on. Um, I've never watched the Super Smash. Only time I've heard of the Super Smash is when you brought it up, Oni. So yeah, never heard of it. Don't think Money has heard of it.
I think we
Before
did
he
discuss
brought it
that in
up.
an earlier series, and you know, I think that was probably the stream where we were talking about the World Cup and how there's a bit of a problem with New Zealand cricket with so many stars going to play in the Big Bash and not being willing to develop the game locally. Um, that should change, and hopefully we'll see a lot more, at least with a few former internationals turning out for the New Zealand teams in that tournament. That would at least help raise the profile. But you know,
Yeah,
New Zealand cricket does have a few problems with regard to money and so forth.
yeah. Um, um, Oni, I don't want your support. You support England and India. Right? You can support India, but don't ever say England and the Proteas in the same sentence. Never. So yeah, be up yourself, Ryan. Always happy to see you. Yeah. Um. So yeah. Um. We'll discuss that now as we get into. Uh. Fourth best. So you've got the IPL Vitality Blast, you know. Mm. Vitality Blast or Big Bash, third or second. Then I would say, our local tournament, the T21, I would say. Um, so yeah, or even our one day stuff. So yeah, um, I had New Zealand, but not sure now, given the lack of foreign players with big names, but keeping their own players. Look, I think a few years ago New Zealand was up there, but now not really. Um, I think it's about time PSL entered a convo for that fourth spot, given how good they have been past 2 years. Also, the SA20 might be. So I'm going SAT20. What do you reckon, Manny? PSL SAT20.
Well, I haven't really seen too many of the matches, but I've seen how it's grown in stature, and obviously many fine players from South Africa and of course some worldwide come over there to play and help really raise the profile. One thing which I'm really not too fond of is how a lot of these new T20 leagues seem to try to piggyback off the IPL and take their names. You've got the
Well,
Pearl Royals, for example,
Manny,
which is yeah.
the reason why is because the IPL is directly linked to this one.
Yes, yes,
So
yes, yes. I realise that, and of course you've got the Pearl Royals for whom Joss Butler played. And of course, Butler also is a part of the Rajasthan Royals. So you do have that little bit of a tie in there. I
No,
kind of get
no
that.
Vitality Plus for KFC, PSL,
I'm
and
not
then
too
Global
personally. I'm not too
Prime.
big a fan of the IPL because I remember before the IPL came into existence, there was a cricket league called the ICL or the Indian Cricket League, and that had the likes of Kapil Dev and several others trying to set it up independent of the BCCI. And because there were no current players involved at the time, although several of the Pakistani players and Bangladeshi players who got involved with the league since renounced their ties to the ICL and returned to play for their nation. There were a lot of former internationals, and it did a lot more, in my opinion, to put the focus on youth cricketers and trying to give them the exposure they needed, playing with some, really experienced former greats. With the IPL, it's a little bit like the English Premier League of football, where you have the best current stars coming in. And there's a part of me that thinks that some of the cricket that's played in the IPL may provide a great deal in terms of equality, but it doesn't really offer that much in terms of actual quality in many ways. And several players who, uh, who sort of come into prominence in the IPL, hardly many of them don't even go on to further their international ambitions. Some of them do, I won't deny that, but you know, it seems to be more of an externality with the IPL more than the actual aim, and the ICL wanted to promote youth cricket more. That's why I can never really get behind the IPL. Too much glitz and glamour for me, and too much money involved in that. And sometimes it can be at a huge detriment to the international teams, especially when several players make it crystal clear that they'd rather chase the millions on offer in the IPL than actually, turn around and play for their country. Don't get me wrong. The international cricket calendar does need to be, trimmed down in many ways. But you know, players have to start prioritizing their international careers and their own personal careers over the IPL. And it's good that Ben Stokes and Joe Root have opted to withdraw, even if it has come at a cost to them with their teams having released them. So that's just my thoughts on it. I think some of the other T20 leagues don't get the PR that the IPL gets, but they can also offer a really good quality product if a lot more exposure is given to them.
Yeah. Um. Where is it? Yeah. It says Caribbean Prime. Maybe. The Caribbean Premier League is good. It is a good one. Um, anyone know how to watch matches on Amazon Prime with commentary? Wrong person to ask. Don't watch it on Amazon. Pero money, do you know?
I don't use the Amazon Prime stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
go
Of
by,
course,
my usual.
yeah. We go by usual stuff. So maybe someone in the
Yeah.
chat. Um, let's go. Fourth is still a hard one for me at the moment, but let's maybe take a look. KFC, I would say CPL is way off the books, especially with waivers. Cricket baller at my value. Choose between Super Smash PSA. Super Smash, no, PSL or SA. SA20, what do you reckon?
I'll probably go for the SA20. I think the PSL also, it needs a little bit of PR and a lot more in terms of players coming to that. But the SAT20 has provided some really good quality cricket. I think the Vitality Blast also needs a lot more in terms of PR.
Yeah, yeah, probably. That is true. So, but I have put out a poll. Also, before we go on to the big bash, which is the main talking points, um, of course, for this till Friday and the weekend, we are trying to help out Eli Football with their support to raise money for Make a Wish UK to help children diagnosed with critical conditions. There's the link. If you have the funds to donate, do please any amount. If you don't, just share the link around to friends or family. Would be much appreciated. Um, so yeah, uh, it's yeah, it's only in its second season, but I have put out a poll. 60 for 4 now. So yeah, but let me bring up the Big Bash. Also, yep, everyone that's in here, 7 people watching, smash that like button. Let's get straight into the Big Bash. Starts tomorrow. We'll decide if we do a watch wrong or not. Might do to the second innings, but here. Uh, so yeah, but let's start. I went through the squads beforehand, and I was surprised that there isn't much big names. But of course, I know most of the Australian stars are, of course, going to the test. So few have rested, but I think all of them are on here. Um, Alex Carey, Travis Head, Adam Hose. Where is he? View profile. He's from England, so right, yeah, England.
Yeah,
Um,
born in the Isle of Wight, so
yeah.
technically
Sorry,
he's more of
there's
an
England.
islander, but his allegiance would be to the UK. So
Yeah,
internationally, I think he'd choose to play for England.
yeah. Henry Hunt, Thomas Kelly, Chris Lynn, Harry Nelson, Matthew Short, Darcy Short, Jack Wetherall. So I think we'll rate the squad out of 10. Really. So yeah, James Basley, Jamie Overton, and Rashid Khan, but Rashid Khan has withdrawn. So another English player then Jamie Overton. Um, yes. Long time since I've heard his name. Wes Agar, Cameron Boyce, Brendan Dockett, Ben McAtee, David Payne, and Henry Thornton. Italy. Hmm. Maybe a gem. Maybe a gem.
Also,
Ben
Aussie born, but playing for Italy. So I think for some reason he counts as an overseas international. But interesting.
David Payne. Where is he from? England. So lots of English stars. Um, in the Big Bash. Especially for the strikers. They squad, except for the batters, nothing really else. 4 out of 10. Maybe generous. Why do you rate that squad?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you take a look at Alex Carey and Travis Head, and there's not really too much else. Maybe one or two of them can,
Chris Lynn,
rise to the occasion. Chris Lynn is a possibility. Um,
Mostly Shorts also, Jack Weddle.
yep, Matty Short. He's played a couple of ODIs for Australia and a few T20 internationals, and yeah, maybe a few of them. And of course, I think with regard to the all-rounders, the withdrawal of Rashid Khan will be a big loss. A lot will depend on Overton and Basley if either of them get selected. And where's Agar here? I wonder if he's a relation to the former Aussie international Ashton. Yes, he is. They are brothers, in fact. But Ashton's Aussie days are probably behind him, despite having, had a more than decent career. And of course, the highest in tests of 98, famously batting very low in the order. But yeah, I probably would. It sounds a little bit harsher rating for the squad, but when I take a look at what is on offer, I really don't know if any of these, if these players can come together and really make a team out of it. And even David Payne, for instance, his last international with England was a long time ago. I don't even think he's in the picture very much. So I'd be tempted to go between a 4 and a 5, but I'd probably err on your side and say 4. I think a lot will depend on Carey and Head, and if they get selected for Australia in between, then believe you me, the strikers are going to lose some of their striking power.
Definitely. Brisbane Heat. For Sam Billings. From England also, I believe.
Yep.
He he's been around the block. In terms of teams.
Hey.
Um, yeah. Josh Brown, Max Bryant, few youngsters. Kawaja m- move. I think it's now moved from the Thunder to the Heat. So yeah. Labish Labuschagne, Marnus. Yeah. Okay. Colin Munro, Jamie Pearson, Matt Renshaw. Decent batting lineup. Decent. Decent. Colin Munro definitely going to help. Of course, New Zealand international. Um, so only there's one of the players from New Zealand for you. Um, Michael Nisa, Jack Wildermuth, Walter, Nathan McSweeney. Yeah, I think he's also from England. Yeah,
Uh,
also from England.
Walter is English. I don't know about McSweeney. Nope.
No.
Born Brisbane, born and raised, but Walter's definitely English. Yes.
Then Xavier Bartlett, Spencer Johnson. Yeah, a few youngsters. Yeah, Mitchell Swepson. Bowling definitely lacks. Batting they should be fine with their bats. It's the bowling and because Michael Nice is going to put in and Xavier Bartlett. Those are really the two main guys. Um, I would say 5.
Yeah, I mean, Swepson and Kuhneman obviously lend a bit of depth to the bowling. I remember Kuhneman, of course, being a part of the Australian side that toured India, and not disgracing himself by any means. And again, though, when you take a look at the batting, Khawaja and Labuschagne will definitely be on Australia duty. Matt Renshaw, of course, might be considered as an option to replace David Warner once he retires from international cricket. We don't know how long Khawaja will be playing for Australia for. Still churning out some runs, of course, on Australia's player of the series in the Ashes. And again, when it comes to the all-rounders, Hanno, I think obviously Nisa is one name that jumps right at you, but the other three are pretty much nondescript. This might only be a marginally better squad than the strikers. I just don't know if Brisbane will be bringing the heat this time around, but we will have to see. And
Also, so I just
yeah,
noticed. I don't have Chris Lynn. Chris Lynn also had to move. I don't know if he moved last season or this season, but I know he moved one of. So I think he moved last season to the Adelaide Strikers because he was like the main guy at Brisbane. So yeah, sorry, I put there, but yeah,
yeah. So yeah, I'd agree with the 5 rating that you given there. I think we're pretty much agreeing on almost everything so far.
yeah. Let's move next one. Hobart Hurricanes. Um,
Here they are, boom, 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 rock you like the Hurricanes.
um,
All of the older viewers will remember that.
Tim David overrated. Um, Sam Hain. He's probably also English. Yeah. Jeez. Never know England sounds like um Australia like this. Um, Sam Hauser or Caleb Joe, Mitchell Owen, Chris Ryan, Matthew Wade, Ben McDermott. Youngsters, these are. Don't really recognize them. Same with
Yeah.
Sam
Watch out for
Payne.
McDermott though, because he actually comes from
Yeah,
a line of cricketing royalty. His dad, Craig, was a former fast bowler for Australia, of course. Um, a legend in his own right, has to be said. And unlike his father, though, uh, Benny boy over here is a wicketkeeper batsman, but still trying to continue in the tradition. Maybe possibly play for Australia himself one day. Who knows?
yeah. Um, Corey Anderson, that screams New Zealand. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's another one, Corey Anderson. That's two New Zealanders.
A,
Nathan Ellis,
a
captain.
blast from the past is Anderson. I mean, he was an explosive batsman back in the day, eh?
Yeah. Nathan Ellis, captain. Don't know who that is. Scream Sri Lankan. Let's see.
Nikhil
Indian.
Chowdhury,
Oh.
come on. Yeah, it's as Indian as they come. Chowdhury. And you say that's Sri Lankan. No chance, son. Born in
Patrick
Delhi, but
Dooley.
plays for Punjab.
Chris Jordan, of course, we all know him. Billy
Yep.
Stanley. Riley Madrid. Yeah. Again. Weak. Weak team. Like, if you take McDermott and Wade out of that team and Alice, basically nobody's. Um,
Don't call Chris Jordan nobody. He was a World T20 winner with England.
uh, uh, so go 4, 5, 4, 5 again.
I'd say a four because it was interesting how you say Tim David is overrated. I get that you don't really have much of a soft spot for him, but he can be explosive on his day. And Matthew Wade, of
It's
course, will
like
be a big.
Pakistan. On this day, it can be. Never
Yeah.
is.
And
But no.
Matthew Wade, of course, will be expected to play a bit of a role for Australia as maybe a backup to Alex Carey. I don't see him, getting back into the Test team soon, but his Aussie career isn't over by any means. But still, a very inexperienced squad. I'd agree with your rating of four.
Okay. Let's have a look at the chat. Um. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I've gone SA24 now, by the way, but only because of the IPL backhand at the moment. Only thing I will change from my South African team is the name of Cape Town Indians from MI Cape Town, yeah. By the way, I would have picked Cape Town regardless, just because Mumbai occurred them. Just like a bonus though. Maybe if Durban had been picked, I may have considered, as I like them too. But nah. Okay, fair. Come on, Perth. Oh, the house supports Perth. Hardly watch or follow BBL, but if I was pick a team, it would be them. Again, Glory answer, Glory answer. Um, Corey Anderson, the mayor of Mumbai. According to Arnie.
Maybe he remembers Mr. Anderson better than most of us.
Yeah. So, yeah. Melbourne Renegades squad. Now, for me, this squad is up there with probably one of the best. Best. Let's go through them. Um, Joe Clark, Quentin the Cock, Aaron Finch, Jake Fraser, McKirk, Mackenzie Harvey, Nick Madison, of course. Yeah. Sean Marsh, Jonathan Welsh. Sean Marsh, 40 years young. Um, so he's still going strong. 40 years old. Um, I like the spanning lineup from them.
You'll be excited,
Um,
of course, to see Quinton continuing to be the cock of the walk, perhaps.
yeah. Tom Rogers, Will Sutherland, second. That screams that. Joe Clark is English, I reckon.
Yep.
Nathan Lyon, Kane Richardson, Adam Zampa, Peter Settle. Peter Settle moving from Adelaide to Renegades. Mujib, and this one, what do I think? New Zealand, Sri Lanka. Okay. um, yeah, I like the squad. Um, I like the squad from them. Of course, they will be it when, of course, Zampa. Well, when Lion, um, yeah, when Lion goes to
Australia for
the
the
test.
test.
Yeah, for the test. But good team, good team. Let's go. I would say 6.5. 6.5.
Yeah, I think the one reason why they're not really that high is because you take a look at someone like Tom Rogers. Maybe he's been around the block quite a bit, but I don't really see them having too much in terms of proper established all rounders. In fact, Rogers has never played a game for Australia. And as for Sutherland, it's sort of the same thing. And you do want to have some decent all rounders in your team. You take a look at the batsmen, of course, as I mentioned, Quinton de Kock, Aaron Finch, Sean Marsh, proven quality. Even Nick Maddinson is definitely no slouch, and he's also played 3 tests and a few T20s for Australia. Maybe not with very much success, but he's got some pedigree. Certainly as a T20 player, having played in various franchise leagues, and with the bowling, Peter Siddle still going strong at his age. Even if his Australia days are over, he's still decent quality. Kane Richardson, Mujibur Rahman, Nathan Lyon, and Zampa. But as you said, it can't be any higher than 6 or 6.5 because there isn't really that much in terms of an established all rounder. So I suppose I could probably go along with your rating of a 6.5, but I tend to put it a bit lower. But that's your call, obviously.
Yeah, no, your opinion, your opinion. Melbourne Stars. Um, very much inexperienced. Joe Burns, Hilton Cartwright, Sam Harper, Campbell Callaway, Nick Larkin, Nathan Coulter-Nile, Liam Dawson, Imad Wasim, Glenn Maxwell, Tom Rogers, Marcus Stoinis, and Bill Webster.
And
Scotty
this is where you
Butler.
see, in
Oh,
terms of all rounders, this team, the Stars, have got so much depth. You see, and Maxwell, of course, he is synonymous with
Ashraf.
the Stars.
Yeah. Ashraf and Usman Mir. The two. I would go six. Six with this team. I think that the thing that's saving them is the all rounders.
Yes.
Cottonelle, Maxwell, Stoinis, Dawson, and then I've got on Scott Boland and House Ralph.
Yeah, but I'm actually more than tempted to give this team a 7 because, I mean, granted, you take a look at the batsmen and you say that maybe there isn't really a name that jumps right at you, but Burns obviously has played several tests for Australia, and Cartwright, who was born in Zimbabwe, has played a couple of tests, and they've also been pretty much active in the first-class circuit, and of course, any team that's got Glenn Maxwell and Marcus Stoinis in their team, along with Imad Wasim and the likes of Nathan Coulter-Nile, even Liam Dawson as well, I think, it's tempting to say that they're middle heavy, but, you can never ever write them off. And Boland and Ralph and Osama Mir, some pretty good experience there. I don't think Boland might be recalled for the test team, but he should definitely play more than a few games and bring his qualities to the fore. I'm tempted to give this squad a 7, but I see why you'd be willing to give them a 6 because maybe their batting isn't really strong enough in your opinion.
Yeah. Nothing else. Bad thing, really. Um, so yeah, we'll move on to the comments really quickly. Um, come on, Perth, Law. Oh yeah. Yeah. Law, I'll set your answer, yeah, because it's my dad visited there once, so I better meant to be quite nice. Sydney Sixers. That's the team you need to support, Arnie. You need to support the Sydney Sixers. Um, yeah, we dominance. And Corey knocked 2014 against Rajasthan to take us to the playoffs last season on net run rate to other game. Therefore, check it out.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, do smash that like button. Quarter now, an IPL title winner too. Ralph plays for Lahore. I don't know. So CL20 needs to return for sure, big time. Even if it's really a short term, and we need something at least kind of like a club World Cup that should be once a year. Up for no, there's enough. There's enough cricket for you. Have Scorchers. Um, Aston Turner, captain. Cooper Connolly, Zach Crawley. Laurie Evans, Josh English. Math, Sam Whiteman, Nick Hobson, Aaron Hardy, Mitchell Marsh, um, yeah, Mitchell Marsh was there, Aston Agar, Jason Berendorf, Matthew Kelly, Emmons Mackenzie, Lance Morris, Jason Andrew Tan. It's a decent squad. Six, standard
I'm tempted.
six.
I'm tempted to go 7 here because look, you've got Crawley and Inglis as your batsman. Some more experience coming in the form of Whiteman, maybe Ashton Turner, the captain. Uh, see how well he's done. I
Yeah,
don't know
I'll,
if
I'll
he's
go seven. I'll go seven. Let's go seven.
played a few ODIs and T20s for Australia. Reasonable returns, I would say, and but maybe not really earth-shattering. Mitch Marsh, of course, absolute star in his own right. Ashton Agar, Berendorf, Jai Richardson, and Andrew Ty. Um, this looks really a well-rounded squad in many ways. Maybe a little bit middle light, perhaps, because apart from Mitch Marsh, not really too much there in the all-rounder stakes. But if you've been good enough to be picked for Australia, at least at limited overs level, you know that you can play ODI cricket. And I think this team, in terms of experience and proven quality, seems to be, really, really good. In fact, although I remember giving the Stars a 7, I'd rate Perth Scorchers marginally higher than them.
Fair enough. Um, I'll go on to the next one in a sec. Um, let's take out this. Okay. Sydney Sixers. Now, this is the best team this year. Best squad you'll see. Let's get straight into it. Jack Edwards, youngster, always good to have some young blood. Daniel Hughes, experience, good to have experience around. Patterson, decent batter, decent. Josh Philippi, the next Steve Smith. Jordan Silk, great finisher. James Vince, experience again. All rounders, Sean Abbott, experience. Tom Curran, what a pick. Tom Curran, all rounder, but the best all rounder after um, Chris Jordan. Moises Henriquez, all but
Oh,
still going.
another blast from the past.
Steve O'Keefe, another one. 38 years young. Um, Jackson Bird experience. Ben Dawson's experience. Todd Murphy experience. For his age experience. Joel Davies, youngster. Naveed, I think it's Afghanistan. I think. Yes. Naveed could have another spinner. Leg breaker, so offers different. Todd Murphy, Naveed offers different stuff. Joe Davis also offers something different. So good balanced squad. Tom Curran brings that pace. Sean Abbott pace. Um, let's not forget Hayden Kerr. Um, also brings some pace. So five quick bowlers. Moises Enriquez can bowl a few. Then you got your four spinners of Steve O'Keefe. They batters sound. Um, yeah, love the squad. To be fair, hope the Sixers finish last. No, I reckon this team eight. Alright, maybe biased, but eight for me.
Yeah, I see the bias there, mind you, because I mean, you take away Stephen Smith as one of your batsmen. Obviously, Josh Philippe and James Vince can provide some quality and experience. Jordan Silk as well. Daniel Hughes has been around the block quite a bit. Tommy Curran, of course, we all know how good he is, but he hasn't really been in the picture with England for quite some time now, unlike his brother Sam, who's trying his best to atone for his poor showing in the earlier ODI as we speak. And Steve O'Keefe definitely has played plenty of more than a few times for Australia, but not with too much success. And yeah, there is that blend of youth and experience in terms of people who've played a lot of first-class cricket, some internationals, and I wouldn't necessarily go so far to say that this is an 8, but I definitely give it a 7. And this could challenge if everyone pretty much is on the same page, because at least in theory, you're only going to lose Stephen Smith to international duty. So you should have all of your players there. Sean Abbott, don't forget him. He might also be very much in the picture. But Henriques has got the experience, as does O'Keefe, and yeah, I'd say a strong 7, and right up there with the Scorchers as one of the two best squads.
So 7. We'll do the Sydney Thunder. Next. Manny, will you take us through the squad?
Yeah, so Bancroft, of course, is considered to be a possible replacement for the retiring David Warner, and also he's in the squad. And once he retires from Test duty, he should be available for the rest of the Big Bash. It'll remain to be seen whether he'll continue to perform limited overs duties for Australia. I think he might have his sights set on the T20 World Cup if he continues his form. Alex Hales, former England international, an explosive batsman in his day. He's very much a part of that squad and now very much into the franchise world. So he's definitely a solid acquisition. And some youth and experience there. Seems like a decent squad. Taking a look at Alex Ross, for instance, 30, no internationals, but definitely has been a veteran of the Big Bash, playing for both the Strikers and the Heat, so he'll know his way around. All-rounders, Chris Green is expected to captain the team along with Daniel Sams. Sams has played a few T20s for Australia. And as far as Green is concerned, certainly at 30, a very safe pair of hands. Another South African-born fella who went to play for Australia. And he's played a T20 international as well for the Aussies. The bowling is quite interesting, though, because apart from Gurinder Sandhu and Tanvir Sangha, I think Sangha was involved with the Aussie team in the build-up to the World Cup. I don't think he went on to play too many games afterwards. And, of course, Sandhu has been around the block for quite some time. In fact, a couple of ODIs for Australia, but not really too much, uh, you know, about it. And then, of course, Hatcher and McAndrew don't really jump out at me. Neither does Nikitaris, who was a late acquisition. I'd be tempted to sort of go for to give this one a bit of a 6 because the batsmen are the only real saving grace in this particular squad. And apart from them, I don't really see too much in the all-rounders or the bowlers to really see them cause too many problems. So for me, the Scorchers and the Sixers do have the probably have the two best squads of the 8 teams involved.
Who? Who did they say who has the best?
The Scorchers and the Sixers.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. So yeah, let's. Heat Stars. Stars. What can Stars do it tomorrow? First match.
Should be a close game, but I think the Stars might edge it. Where's it being played? In Queensland or Victoria?
Brisbane.
Brisbane, yeah. So obviously the Heat have home comfort, but I think the Stars might just edge that. 15 runs or 3 wickets.
Sydney, Melbourne, Sydney. At home, should win.
Ooh. Yeah, the is it the Sixers or the Sixers should get this one.
Yeah. Strikers Heat. Strikers. Yeah. Renegades Scorchers. Scorchers. Your money.
Yeah, I think the Heat should have a bit too much for the Strikers and Renegades and Scorchers. I'm backing the Scorchers for this one.
Yeah. Fair. We'll do till Tuesday, yeah. Hobart Sixers. Hobart always beats us. Hobart always beats us. So
yeah, maybe this is the time to reverse that trend. I would think. So the Sixers to win this one.
So yeah, we'll do till there. We'll quickly do it. Of course, the Chelsea lineup is out. Quickly react to this. Mitchell Johnson, David Warner, Manning. You have all the quotes and stuff.
Well, I don't really want to go too in depth into this, but Johnson basically wrote a rather forthright and very harsh, in some ways, column in the West Australian newspaper, saying that Warner didn't deserve to be given the farewell in the third test of the summer against Pakistan at the Sydney Cricket Ground because, in some ways, he hasn't really owned up to his part in the Sandpapergate scandal. And almost predictably, Johnson also called many of the team gutless for the way Justin Langer was forced to resign effectively as Australia coach. But Warner has been supported in many ways. And then, of course, we now have some news that, after Mitch Johnson attacked his wife, Candice, David ended up sending Mitchell a bit of a rather personal text, which has not been divulged. And, of course, the latest news is that in lieu of his harsh commentary, Johnson has been barred rather, from doing any commentary duties on TV for the series. So I wouldn't be surprised if any international channels covering that series will look to snap up Johnson there. And look, whatever our opinions on the Sandpapergate scandal are, I think it's fair to say that if you want to tar David Warner with the brush of being one of the bad boys in that, then you can't just allow Steve Smith, who was the captain at the time, to get away scot-free. He also has to, cop his share of the blame. Maybe the reason why Steve Smith is getting a bit of a free pass is that he has been scoring a lot more consistently in the Test arena than David Warner has. But still, it cannot be one rule for one and another rule for another. And I think Kenny Ken, who has come on this stream before and spoken about Warner, is of the opinion that the only reason why Warner gets a little bit more stick is because he's more of a working class boy who comes from the equivalent of a UK council estate, whereas Smith, like Michael Clarke before him, is more of the golden boy of Australia cricket. And Smith should never have been given a chance to come back to the captain's leadership circle as vice captain to Pat Cummins, in my opinion. Maybe the lack of available leaders sort of prompted that. But if you're going to criticize David Warner, you can't ignore Steve Smith, and that's where the hypocrisy lies. You can't just give Warner all of these brickbats. And I think the fact that Johnson admitted that it was Warner's personal text that set it all off pretty much says it all. And Johnson should never have made those comments concerning his wife. And predictably, a large number of people have come out in support of Warner, including George Bailey, the chairman of selectors, who fired a cheeky little cheap shot at Johnson saying, I hope he's okay. And I'm sorry, but you can't make light of any kind of mental health issues if that is the case. That was really a bit of a cheap shot in many ways. I mean, defend Warner by all means and say, he's done his time, done the crime. And, he's not really going to be a part of the team going forward at Test level. And it's kind of nice in some ways to see that the Australians are learning from the mistakes they made with Mark Waugh and Ian Healy, two absolute legends of the game who were denied farewell Test themselves. And don't get me wrong, Mark Waugh deserved to be axed at that time because he simply wasn't performing too well enough. He had been given a little bit too much rope. But Ian Healy, in my opinion, was very, very harshly treated. And had he been allowed to play that Test at Brisbane on his home ground, he would have earned his 120th Test cap for Australia and also become the first wicketkeeper to record 400 international dismissals. So maybe they've said, given how they treated the likes of Justin Langer and Matthew Hayden and others, that maybe people are more who have served Aussie cricket with such distinction deserve to be given the chance to have their farewell. And Warner did struggle in the Ashes series, and you will remember that, Haddo, but there were some signs in that he was, showing a little bit of the old fluency. It was just a case of a few smart deliveries that got him to nick off a little bit. And nicking off is not a nice way for a left-hander to get out. To me, I think Johnson is a little bit bitter in a way that his career ended a little bit earlier than he would have liked. And he was outstanding as a bowler, but never really one of the most consistent. And of course, it wasn't for nothing that they had that poem sort of written about him. He bowls to the left, he bowls to the right. He's Mitchell Johnson. His bowling is not all right. And I'm not going to mention that word which is otherwise used. And look, David Warner isn't perfect. Nobody is perfect. And ideally, for his role in the Sandpaper Gate, he never should have been allowed to play international cricket again. But if you're going to bring back Steve Smith and give him a second chance, then you've got to give David Warner that same courtesy. And he has copped a lot more of the punishment than Smith has. And the disparity is what angers me personally. And it certainly angers Kenny Ken, who has a lot to say about this. So I think this is really just an unnecessary thing. And it's a question of, a former cricketer who has been, slighted in a way, who has to take out his emotions on everyone else. And, we can go in depth, Hanno, talking about a lot of the personality clashes that have existed between many Aussie legends of yesteryear, but that's going to take another session altogether. I think, if this is going to be Warner's Test farewell, then we're going to see how well he performs. And I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles against Pakistan and ends up not getting the SEG farewell that he wants. But again, you just never know with what's going on. But there will, of course, be some replacements in that team. The likes of Warner, Nathan Lyon, and maybe even Usman Khawaja will be phased out very soon. Although Khawaja is still playing really well. I can actually see him playing on to his 40s. He won't get 100 tests for Australia, but will end his career having played around about 70 to 80 tests and maybe scoring about 6,000 runs. A pretty good ending given how he was in and out of the team for several years now. But look, at the end of the day, I think Mitch Johnson really needs to just, button his lip and say, just avoid all of this. And if you want to criticize David Warner, you've got to reserve some of your heat to Steve Smith as well. And so I think the punishment should have been harsher, but it wasn't. So let's just all move on. And if Cameron Bancroft does come back into the Aussie team, then I think, that can go some way to putting the whole incident behind them more than anything else.
Yeah, it could. It definitely can. I reckon that's everything discussed, really. Um, so yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
brief mention, of course, to Mushfiqur Rahim, who ended up
oh,
acquiring a piece of unwanted cricketing history. And I can tell from the oh goodness, you know all about that.
yeah. So basically, what's happened? Of course, you can't obstruct the field with your hand or touch the ball after you've played it, um, unless it's going to your wickets and you can kick it away. Um, so he defends the ball, oh, and then I think he almost wants to catch the ball, like just catch it, give it to them. Um, and of course, you can't do that. Why he did it, we don't know. But it is obstructing the field because you never know. Maybe the ball bounces back. It misses him completely, misses the bat, everything, and it's his wickets. But yeah,
Yeah, and I'm going to
what
say this,
and and
go ahead,
apparently
go ahead.
he apparently tried to do it before, like but didn't do it. So
The most
oh
experienced player in that Bangladesh team, their most capped, he should know better. And I'm reminded of an example of how not to do that with a South African connection. I believe it was England against South Africa 2003 at the Oval. It was Graham Smith's first series as captain. Flintoff, of course, Andrew Flintoff, of course, love you, Freddie, always. He was, of course, batting. And if memory serves me right, that might have been in England's first innings where they ended up getting a decent lead at the end of it. I believe there was an instance where, after Flintoff batted, he sort of played a sort of a high defensive shot and let the ball sort of bounce and settle and didn't even bother to pick it up, saying that, if you fielders want the ball, you're going to have to come over here and get it. And the ball was actually close to his crease. And Smithy, that raw youngster that he was not amused. He let fly with a huge series of obscenities at Flintoff. And all our Freddie did was just smile at him. And long story short, South Africa lost that test, lost the chance to win that series. And Graham Smith, who had started the series well, ended that series with a bit of a whimper by his own admission, and learned a harsh lesson on how to behave and how not to behave. But yeah, so bottom line is, whenever you're in doubt, just don't touch the ball and make sure that you read up on the rules of the game, because there is no question about the spirit of the game these days. Players have now got to be aware of the rules yesterday. So, Mushy, you ought to know better. And in whatever's left of your career, do better.
yeah. Um. What's it? Yeah. Also, I want to say, England are going to lose the second ODI because it's 141 for 4 after 28 overs. So West Indies are in a good position. Um. So yeah. But that's really that. We will be live around 8:05 UK time. Manchester United, Chelsea watch long. So yeah, to tune in to that one. Um, yeah. Thank you, Manny, for joining. And of course, everyone in the chat. That um, join. So yeah, again, just a quick one. Again, we are trying to help them out. We'll do it so when Friday, and then we'll do another um, charity or some charity ish type thing. So yeah, Make a Wish UK. Um, yeah, that's really that. Halfway to 500 is the goal. If you can't donate, do share it around to some friends and family members. But yeah, thank you, Manny, for joining. Um, I'm gonna take a quick break before do the big one, Chelsea United. But I think the bigger game is of course Villa City. Up the Villa. But yeah, my socials: Instagram Hannah underscore coach underscore corner, Twitter _70830030, and then TikTok Coach Corner One, as well as Facebook Football for Life show on there. Me and Arnie just shares stuff on there. Um, so go follow it on there. The link is in the description. Takes you straight to the page. So yeah. Um, thank you, Manny, for joining. Your socials.
Yeah, well, first of all, I hope it will be a good evening for Unai Emery against City today. They're playing at Villa Park. I should be tuning into that one. Sorry, Hanno, if I could join you for your watch along, I would. But yeah, catch me over here on the Coach's Corner. Catch me on several other channels on YouTube, Del Boy Gunner TV, Oris Talks Football, and several others that I can't really, name at the moment because I'm a little bit swamped mentally. But yeah, do follow Hannah on his socials. Do please keep liking and subscribing to the channel, and it's a real privilege for me as co-host to be a part of this channel and help provide some good content and analysis from various sports. And thanks to everyone in the chat again for contributing to the stream, and we hope to see you again soon. Until then, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the sporting action that's on offer. Be safe and be happy, and don't do anything that Mr. Trollope and I wouldn't do. But for now, farewell to thee, and good evening to each and every one of you. Or goodbye, wherever you are in the world.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you in a bit. Peace.